This makes me laugh. The opening piece of this, the Cultural Heart. The Cultural Heart is a game-changing 210 million plan which will transform Huddersfield town centre into a vibrant cultural hub of leisure, arts and music, with security guards in McDonald's, in Barham Arcade, bollards that raise up and down, gates and everything, so everywhere you look it'll look like, you know, you shouldn't trust anyone, and you know, it's not safe without these, and people shouldn't be trusted. The worst thing is game-changing. So, you are playing a game. It's game-changing. So you've been playing a game and now you're changing it. Basically because otherwise you'll lose. You know, people could quite easily, you know, get 20,000 signatures or 100,000 signatures if the game hadn't been changed. Because currently, with the internet, with Facebook groups, with Messenger, we could actually stop this from happening and do something else with the 210 million. Maybe not even, you know, do anything to the town centre. Maybe even give it to charities or other towns that need it, you know, that aren't actually blowing 210 million all the time, constantly redeveloping over and over and over again. Some places aren't even being redeveloped once or needed to. It always seems our area. I don't know why Huddersfield seems to attract this attention. It must be constantly redone over. I think that it's, you know, there's some government issue with Huddersfield. And I don't think it is the people of Huddersfield. It's been pushed on us. Nowhere else has had it pushed on us. They've said that, you know, there's been so much money put into this area. It's a very keen interest and very forced, constant. It's like been a perpetual development. And the what's actually underneath it and behind it is the fact that we have got these heritage sites and we have got this landscape, and it's got very, very deep-rooted history. And I believe there's evidence that the aristocracy, that includes the Earl Dartmouth, it includes King George before he popped his clogs, and the Queen and Prince Charles, there's an issue with our history. And I've proved it in my petition evidence. They've been removing visual access. They've built on top of the history site. They started a war when it started getting excavated at Castle Hill. We never got the Warriors' Tomb excavated. They built housing estate on top of it in the letter D shape. I've got a thoroughly detailed case, and every single clause in that case, I've got physical evidence on, factual evidence, historical record evidence to support it and back it up. There's reasons behind each piece of evidence. I can explain why they'd want to do it, the motivations. There's a motive behind these things. There's a reason behind these things. There's an intent behind these things. And the intent, reasons and motive, I believe, have been to actually spoil Huddersfield, because it originally is supreme landscape and culture, and under the guise of improvement, under the guise of bringing something new or better or progress, it has actually been ruined. And they've been selling this pitch to us that we need to change, or we want more, or we need more, or it's going to be better the whole time. But then every time it's, oh no, Huddersfield's rubbish. But it's not. And they can't stop. The reason we are as we are now is because following 1904, with the Yorkshire Show that was promising agriculture, what did they do? They built the Imperial Chemical Industries, ICI, and then all the housing and everything, transformed the Liberal stronghold into a Labour area and built factories and built it. They chose to build it how it is now under the guise and promise then of it's going to be amazing, better tram lines, the latest thing, right? And now they're doing that again. It's the same old story and the same sales pitch again and again and again. Yet other places in England, beautiful places, historic places, they've had some redevelopment, they've made progress, but it's not been totally annihilated and wiped out. It was good in the first place. They made it right in the first place. It's got beautiful buildings, you know, you name it, you know, Dorchester, Winchester, you know, name a place in England, Bristol. I mean, look at Plymouth. Plymouth got absolutely annihilated in the war, and it had a very historic and beautiful centre to Plymouth, right? And it got totally redeveloped. Now, our place didn't get so damaged in the war, but we might as well have been Plymouth, because what they've done to us over these years essentially is, instead of Plymouth just getting bombed in one go, we've slowly had his wisdom teeth pulled out, bit by bit, under the guise and promise. It's just what the council's doing now. Promises, you know, the latest design. Yet, the surrounding area of Huddersfield is actually better than the town. The landscape and the terrain around it is mind-blowingly superior to London, to, you know, Balmoral, to Sandringham, to anywhere. It actually is a magnificent historic area of the Celtic peoples, right? And the town centre should reflect that. But it isn't doing. And these plans for the cultural heart don't reflect it. The university, what the university is doing doesn't reflect it. It is horrible. And there are, you know, they've got some groups back in the council up, you know, they've got these redevelopment groups that have got a few thousand people in. But the big groups, 20,000 people groups, Huddersfield then and now, who are absolutely, the majority of them are mortified with what's happening, right? A lot of people are put off from writing to the council. A lot of people are put off by the forms and the processes, or they haven't got time. Yet, the publishing comments on these websites, hundreds of comments, you know, 100, 200, 300 more, right? Published to the public arena. And when you used to publish it in a newspaper, it was official. But yet, they don't seem to be acknowledging and recognising those comments. Every comment is more than a signature, because it's not just ticking a box, it's actually giving an opinion, no matter if it's a sentence, a word, or a paragraph. It's more than a petition being signed when you actually even write one word or a sentence. It's more than just ticking the box and backing up what somebody else has written, because you're adding what you've written yourself, as well as the person who started the topic. It needs to stop. The 210 million is 210 million that wants to write off more of Huddersfield and write off as much as it can of Huddersfield, remove the visual access of around Huddersfield, and you might, you know, blame the designers or blame the councillors, but the way it works, the dynamics, the handshakes, the conversations, the telephone calls, the developers, the visits in the office, just like with Darren Smith Builders, you know, there's a little meeting here and a little meeting there. Emails pop up on computers. We don't know where these emails are coming from. If it's BlackRock, Vanguard, who is, you know, Earl Dartsmouth's aristocracy, who own the shares in pretty much everything, and Balfour Beatty's, you know, plans for MI5 go missing, all this. I believe there's intervention. Now, we've got evidence of attack on heritage. It's good evidence. It's strong, ongoing historic evidence. I've got a motive why Earl Dartsmouth would want to do it. Why do you want to build Huddersfield in his image? Have all the buses named Earl Dartsmouth, D1 Darts, going past his housing build that he's put in exactly straight past there. He's got sinister characters on the buses. It's clearly been some influence. I don't know how he's got into Transdev or what Tory councillors he's been speaking to at parties, and then Richard Smith and Bernard McGuinn and John Taylor have been speaking to Tory headquarters, and there are meetings. There are conversations. We're not privy to them all. That's the problem. But what is manifesting before us, housing builds are popping up. No planning notices are up there to object to them, right? Not properly. There are strategic, they now have to strategically plan to get what they want and beat us. And it has to look like they're giving us a say and an opinion. But what our say and opinion amounts to usually is zero, nothing. It won't really affect anything that they want to do. Oh, we're having a public consultation. They're saying that. But all the time, the whole thing, oh, we are going to build a cultural art. They've been publishing it everywhere, putting team player ads out on the buses with the football team, making it look published like it's all one team. We're building the amazing team. We're building the amazing team. We are building. Those are words everywhere. And they're speaking buses, past the next stop, past the next stop, past the next stop, brainwashing all those people sat on the bus, you know, go past the stop, go past the stop, go past the stop. It's getting people to not intervene. It's devious criminal strategy. And there are many channels now like Russell Brand, Neil Oliver, Talk Radio, GB News, Anonymous Official, they're all giving evidence that the developers, the corporate companies, it's a collusion, and really we should be able to easily get 20,000 signatures against it, easily. We could do that, but it looks like people aren't signing when people don't actually support the project, because the way that Mark Zuckerberg and Nick Clegg have set up Facebook, the way that people see the groups and interact and the filters on there, they've got Messenger obstructed. If they didn't have Messenger on there, we could just message with people quite easily and get signatures. I'm doing a petition, and I know how petitions run. Now signatures are mysteriously disappearing, right? I think it's been hacked, because the amount of money these developers got is millions. To pay people it's a big deal to them. It's a lot of serious money. And they aren't just going to pussyfoot around when, you know, somebody's just going to click their fingers and stop them from a £210 million contract. People will go on the internet. The Tories have deep roots and agents here and there. People are intervening. They're even doing it on Russell Brand's website. Russell Brand on YouTube is a massive opposition to what this government are doing. He's called Russell Brand, yet there were people appearing on his YouTube channel under his name that wasn't him, and they were selling stocks and shares, selling Bitcoin, wanting people to enter profitable enterprises, mulling around, and it wasn't Russell Brand. It was making everyone look like Russell Brand was interested in investing and profits and developments when he wasn't. He's not. He's opposing that. They're posing as him under his name. It's almost like the Sith in Star Wars. And who else would it be? It's the developers that want their own way. They must get these projects because they want to make a profit. And they don't have a value. There's an old cottage, there's a building. When they look at it, they just aren't people who see the value in it. Oh, there's a Mona Lisa. It's a few million. I just like looking at it. There's a field there and a hedge. And a bit of forest. I like looking at it. How much is it worth? To that town, it is worth millions. More than what an housing development is in profit. It's worth it to those people for what it looks like and the vibe and psychological effect it has on the people, uplifting, and the personal power and the esteem of the area. And that's not what Dartmouth and the peerage have been doing. They've been pretending that. They've been mulling around and selling it. Ooh, Imperial Chemicals, we're going to make you big, we're going to make you big. It was already big. It was already bigger than Balmoral, Sandringham and Blenheim put together. The entire city of London is now a smog pit. It was already better than that. Oh no, we'll make you better. There's MMR Mass, we'll make you better. There's Imperial Chemicals, who will regenerate the town centre. What you're actually doing is writing off a perfectly good area, a perfectly brilliant heritage area, and sites, and the surrounding countryside now, and the style of it, and now people are saying it's a dive, that they've got to regenerate it and do it again. When have other villages in England, what were made right in the first place, ever needed redeveloping? Never. Because they're perfectly fine as they are. Tourists come here from America to see a vintage town. People travel from America to see Bybury Village. How much is Bybury Village worth? How much is Weaver's Row worth? Millions? Billions? Stick a pin in there. The thing with contractors and builders are, right, if you've got a painting, right, a Mona Lisa, and it's sat there, right, you can either buy it or not, right? No one else can make money out of it unless they've got a license to sell copies. There's one original, and that is the one that's worth the money, right? No one can make any money out of it unless they copy it somewhere else. That actual painting is the painting. When you have got a building or a row of buildings or a piece of land, and that is the money. That is the value. That is the jewel, right? And what the developers do is it can't get them any profit out of it. And the value to our town, I think Dartmouth wants to devalue Huddersfield, and he's pretending that he's going to add to the value of it. He's pretending he's going to make it better, but he's actually writing it off the whole time through and marring it, right? And he's getting the builders on his side. Oh, there's a piece for you and a piece for you and a piece for Balfour Beatty and a piece for Kerr and a piece for Ross, piece of the pie. We're all going to make some money. Let's all make some money, right? Everyone can make some money out of this land when the land is the jewel. So look at it with your eyeballs. I am looking at the money. It is there. Can you see it? How much is it worth to you? It's worth nothing to Balfour Beatty. When he drives past, it is worth nothing to him. To Darren Smith Builders, to Ben Stephen Marsden's Contracting, it's not worth out unless it's his own garden with his view of Emily Marmar straight out of his window. He can't get any money himself out of it. Dartmouth, it's not worth any money to Dartmouth, that land. He doesn't drive past it every day. He's in Devon or Cornwall, wherever he is. In Dartmouth, he don't live in Huddersfield. He don't drive past it every day and go, look at that £1 million view, it's better than the Mona Lisa. It's not worth out to him. It's got no value. Well, it has because he's got land, but he's not making any money out of it, and he certainly don't want to leave it there for our eyeballs to tickle when we go past. The only thing he wants our eyeballs tickling are the fact he's changed the 233 to D1 Darts for Dartmouth to have his name on there and some really sinister characters on there. Going straight past the ancient Brigantes Hill fort that in 1954 they swung it from the Liberals over to Labour and banged a letter D for dunce on the top of there. And another comical joke, you know, they've got the D, the police chief officer. There are many jokes. They're actually, I'm serious about this. I couldn't be more serious. There's a motive behind it. There is a motive and intent behind it. Now, you might think, you know, well, how can you prove it? Well, the evidence is in the events that have happened. Why? Who would build a letter D shape on that hill fort when the Alex Hogg map had the letter D over it and he was a royalist? He put a letter D over it. Why did John Speed draw the site over at Artshead? Why was it mysterious circumstances when Ramsden lost the land anyway? Sam Copley mysteriously makes a few million, comes back from Australia, passes the rugby ball over to Huddersfield Corporation, aka Prince King George. It wasn't given to Huddersfield, it was given to King George. It was meant to be given to, you know, well, it's His Majesty's government and local council. It's the government. What is Dartmouth doing with that land? I want to know what Dartmouth, how he obtained the land. I've already asked Dartmouth and Johnson Mowat to back down and withdraw the application, which they've totally ignored because, you know, the guy's in suits making millions of pounds. If I won the lottery, I'd take legal action against him, you know, and I'd probably be obstructed. Because when you're messing with men like this who walk around in suits and £1 million nothing to them because they've got multi-billions and they're backed up by BlackRock and Vanguard and mysterious events happen, like if Johnson Mowat end up backing down on the deal, then, you know, one of them might end up in the co-op, you know, funeral section when Dartmouth and the peerage own the co-op, you know. There has already been a merger on that Warriors Mound and at the Rose and Crown that, you know, they turned into the co-op just recently. There's a very, very sinister culture in the Tories because things happen. Boris Johnson's next door neighbour's dad blows his head off with a shotgun, and then, you know, after he shot his wife, you know, things like that seem to happen. When it's the Liberals, you know, why do we get Ciaran Morrissey? And when he's doing well, there's a little kid gets killed called Ciaran Morrissey. To me, that is intimidation tactics, completely transparent, and it's terrorism. We know who's behind this. It's the media, and we've got professionals on television broadcasting with the Reclaim Party, Neil Oliver and Lawrence Fox are sat there broadcasting, doing an interview, and they're saying what I am saying. I'm not a lone maverick who's coming out with ridiculous, far-fetched comments. Why are Mumsnet live on broadcast on the news and TV? Why is Mumsnet interviewing the Prime Minister of England, Boris Johnson, and saying to him that an entire nation of mums on their website are saying that he's a criminal? They don't believe a word he says. And in the interview, which is, you can type it in anywhere you want, saying, this man is corrupt. They absolutely took him to the cleaners live on television. At the moment, we've got the buses on strike here in West Yorkshire. We've got the trains going on strike next week, nationally, right? So I've heard. We've got Russell Brand with 5 million people saying that we need to change this government, it's corrupt. I've investigated planning corruption in illegal road signs with factual evidence that has been verified by experts, but yet there's been no legal action taken against the government. It's Balfour Beatty, it's Care, it's all the builders and developers who are connected to £210 billion government contracts. Each person, when you ask them, they might say, I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent. They're appearing on the front of the Examiner newspaper, posing with counsellors. Oh, I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about it. It's their part in the network influence. They're asked to do something. I'm just doing as I'm told. I'm a designer of town centres. I'm an architect. I'm just doing as I'm told by the corrupt BlackRock and Vanguard. They're telling me to design it this way and that way. I've got influencers on me coming through their advertising and their suggestions through the television, on my mobile phone, in the network, right? They're being influenced. Either you're blind and you can't see how it works. Who arranged with Transdev the Huddersfield Town Football Company sponsorship? Why is it on the bus saying that we're the winning team, we're going to build a winning team, we're going to build a winning team? What does it mean when everyone in Huddersfield sees the word build on all the buses, we're going to build a winning team? Answer the question. Have you been fully trained in psychology and influencer marketing? Right? Do you have a degree in it from university? Right? I don't need a degree in it from university. I was born with the degree in it, right? I know how it works. I know what it is. I know what companies are collaborating and cooperating. If you ask them about it, they'll play dumb. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. You're a liar. You're a liar, a flaming liar. Who in the council voted and approved the building permission at Hopper Hopton of their mansion with gargoyle eagles overlooking Castle Hill, opposite the Freemasons Arm pub with the best view of that ancient site that are being shut down? Who voted for it on that council? Was it Conservative? Was it Labour? I want to know the names of the councillors who voted for it. They knew what was going on. They shut down a view of an ancient site, removed visual access so you can't park or turn round there. It's a team effort. And in a team effort, the gill is almost like passing the rugby ball, because when you go to one person, oh, I'm just an architect who appears on the front of the Examiner with specs on, we're really foggy and I don't have a clue what's going on. I've just been told to design a town centre, by the way, there's £210 million, right? I don't know about it. He throws the rugby ball to the next guy. Oh, look, hold your hands out. You know, is there any paint on your hands? No, there's nothing there. I ain't got a rugby ball in my hands. You know, let's pass the rugby ball on now. The football team manager's got it. He's got the rugby ball because he's got a massive mansion with gargoyles overlooking Castle Hill from the pub that's been shut down. Free house. Oh, now the Tandys have got the rugby ball. Oh, then we'll rip another wisdom tooth out from Huddersfield. Another liberal stronghold. Oh, the Tandys it was an accident. We accidentally built it too big. Oh, pull the other one, right? They're passing the rugby ball around. Now, what does it say here? Game changing, right? The entire corporate elite of England need prosecuting criminally for strategic planning corruption. Oh, we're playing by the rules. We're playing by the rules. They're not. They put road signs out unlawfully to specifications and used them to obtain fines where people weren't lawfully entitled to be fined, right? And no private person can afford to prosecute that with their own money. And the CPS certainly won't do it because they were helping them, right? Which is teamwork. No single person has got the capacity to do it. And that's the game change, because we have got the capacity on Facebook to collect 20,000 signatures by Messenger and everyone. They've put the block on, as Nick Clegg. We're obstructed from doing anything. They're changing the game. It is not a democracy where we are having a say in what happens. And as far as the Tory and Labour are concerned, oh, you're elected us in, we can do what we want. They elect you in to represent you. But what they're saying is, oh, you voted us in, you voted the franchise in, now the franchise is doing what it is. What is the franchise? Most of the electors truly believe, right, that the Labour, you vote a Labour councillor in to represent you, but you sort of like the Labour vibe, but it doesn't mean you agree to every single thing that Labour want to do. Labour and Conservative are treating us as if once we vote for them, then literally the company, the franchise, the business can do what it wants for its investors, for its profiteers and shareholders, and where the £210 million comes from. Or it's the Huddersfield Corporation Act. It's Sam Copley, the saviour of the Lord. He's come back from Australia with millions and he just bought Huddersfield from Ramsden, who, was looking after Huddersfield, and he's given it to the people. No, he hasn't given it to the people because no one owns anything. If he'd given it to the people, he'd write them all contracts up and said, oh, now you're the new landowner of your property. He didn't give everyone a piece of land and say you own that, or else Dartmouth wouldn't have any land. It'd be our land. What's Dartmouth even doing with that land? I don't know how he's got it, when he got it. Did Kirklees Council sell it to him? Did King George sell it to him? Was he included in Ramsden's estate or not? I need to know how the Earl Dartmouth obtained ownership of the Ramsden estate land, which was given to the people. What is Earl Dartmouth doing in possession of land with housing development to make profit for himself out of it? And what is he doing with Dartmouth written on all the buses? How is he doing it? What phone calls are being made? Is it Richard Smith? Did Earl Dartmouth, as a Conservative, speak to Richard Smith, the councillor, and say, Richard, can you have a word with Transdev and tell the designer that I want Earl Dartmouth on the buses? And because Huddersfield, is being annoying us, can you make sure that you really intimidate everyone with some really sinister looking characters? So everyone needs to put gates on their houses, safety security gates, big metal ones, so then everyone will be absolutely terrified and think that Huddersfield is not a place of liberty, kindness and freedom. It is dangerous and scary, and then we'll make an absolute fortune in taxes from all the security gates we're selling all around, and everyone will know Huddersfield as a dodgy place. But yeah, oh no, it's going to be an amazing place. Yeah, when she finished building all the security, the Borg cubes, there's a Borg cube there. Look, I'm stood in Sainsbury's car park. Oh, I can't see Castle Hill because they blocked the view off from it. And where are my roots? Oh, there are no roots under that Borg cube. It's completely hollow underneath. Look, it's like Paul Daniels when he's floating Debbie McGee in midair. Oh, look, woo! No roots underneath there. Deep roots of Huddersfield? No deep roots of Huddersfield. Look at this. It's a Debbie McGee Borg cube. Look at this. Nothing underneath. No roots at all. And I can't even see my heritage. Amazing. Genius. Where's Patrick Stewart on the opening day? Oh, you don't need Patrick Stewart. Here's the Prince Philip, the guy who's been arrested recently off charged for being a paedophile. What is happening? Why have we got Prince Andrew popping up at the university? We need to know who is having conversations. All we get is in the bus station, smoking is against the law. Don't walk against the carriageways, against the law. You are not trustworthy in this bus station. You know, I'm not criminal. You know, we will talk. This is not a safe town. This is not a safe bus station. For your comfort and safety, we must speak this message. I've never been as uncomfortable in my life. I have never been as uncomfortable in my life. And now there's Earl's Dartmouth. Sinister buses are, sinister buses. There are sinister children around here. Sinister children break the law. Sinister children run out in front of cars. Oh, well, I'll have to put security gates on his driveways then. This is it's a psychological strategy, right? And I can tell you now, these men have absolutely they've destroyed Huddersfield. They've ripped it they've got it like a tree and ripped the roots out. They've torn the roots out of Huddersfield and they're promising you gold. There's some gold. Have me gold and riches when they've been ripping his teeth out. Ripping them out and putting false teeth in with microchips and going, oh, now you're the future, now you're the future, now you're the future. When it's not, it's security. We're having a cultural heart. Rubbish. What are you doing? You are physically implanting barriers all around the town. We are evolving as humans. It's not progress in humanity. You are lying to us. You have actually devolved the humanity of the town and you are attempting to make up for it with promises of technology and buildings that are supposed to be cultural, but they're not. That D1 Darts bus is not cultural. It's evil. The caricatures are psychologically defeating and a bad influence on mankind. The letter D blocking off archaeology on the hill fort is an insult. The war that started when Varley started excavating our sites was a distraction and insult. The Russian war is further distraction. Now, these men are absolute master criminals of the entire planet, of the highest level ever in the existence of evolutionary mankind. They are the pinnacle of criminality. They are the pinnacle of evil. The Lieutenant General, the High Sheriff, the Queen, Prince Charles, the Earl Dartmouth. These people are the criminal organisation behind the corporate empire that has stolen our money and converted us from a liberal, humane people into greed and the pursuit of more for their tax profits. They have to be removed from the parties and new parties elected who are honest and humane and have the interest of nature and humanity as the major driving force of progress, with technology as only a supporting part. It is not the be-all and end-all of anything. Technology is not progress without humanity, and our humanity is going backwards at high speed with beeps on it. We are reversing in humanity backwards, and that suits them because devolved people are easier to manipulate. Devolved people are easier to control. Devolved people are easier for them to beat. And we are being beaten. We've been beaten and lashed all the time, the whole way. In fact, the only time we weren't beaten and lashed is when Oliver Cromwell was in government. We have been absolutely thrashed to the bone by these people. They are obsessed. They are obsessed with words, names, meaning, all for their power and profit, to the extent that now, under BlackRock and Vanguard, they own everything. They must be stopped on the face of this planet. These men and women cannot be permitted to proceed any further in any power or control. They are inhumane. They are not humane people with an emotional evolution in mind of priority. Their only evolution is numbers and finance and technology used to overpower the people that they are devolving, because otherwise they will have to give over some of what they've got for equality, for sharing, and they bloody well do not want to give it over. They don't, and they'll have more than a war with Russia. They won't give over. They are greedy and corrupt to the core of the bone. They must be stopped.